know we live in a man's world. As a woman, it's time that we get smart about how we can best operate in this man's world. We are gonna get into a few things that I really truly do believe that every woman should start to implement into their life so that they can break free from societal conditioning that's holding us women back. Instead of just, listening to all the societal programming and the conditioning that we are told, I think it's time that we actually break free from this. Let's break out of it. Let's start to ask ourselves and start to question things that we've been taught, that we feel, that we believe, because maybe it's not actually serving us. Maybe that's what's serving, the stereotypical man in this world. And I really want each and every one of you girls listening to break free from this conditioning that has held us back, in how much we can love ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, how much money we make, what we do in our career endeavors, in our romantic relationships, in our friendships, like in every aspect of our life. I think it's time that we take back our power as women and actually learn how to use our divine power in this man's world. And I've been thinking a lot about this because I think once you start to kind of break free from society's conditioning and you start to, do something different and you start to question things and you start to decide to go against the norm, you start to see everything differently. And that's what's happening to me right now, where I'm kind of having this awakening where I'm like, holy shit, I am literally on a mission to fix this self-worth issue that women are having in society. Honestly, this is my whole goal right now. My biggest mission at this moment is to fix this self-worth issue, because every woman that I've talked to, I recently just co-hosted an event with Kiki at Sea last week. It was an amazing event. It was so nice connecting with the community in person. And every woman I've talked to, I led them through a self-development workshop and we went through our limiting beliefs and, really breaking out of it. All the girls were, more or less, we all have similar issues we struggle with. And that really comes down to our self-worth, not believing in ourselves, not, thinking we really can do the things we want to do, if we really can start that side business, if we, really are deserving of, love, if we're smart enough, if we're pretty enough, if we're all these things. And it just has me so fired up around the idea that everything that we are currently living by on autopilot is just society's conditioning and programming to keep us in a lower vibration so that women buy things, women don't actually love ourselves, so that women, put each other down. All of that is just conditioning. And it's time we break free from it, because every single one of you listening inherently deserves the world, inherently deserves the best, inherently should feel like her divine goddess, best dream girl self all the time, because that is why you're here on earth. And if you're here on earth, this is my belief, if you're here, that's for a reason. And that's because you should be feeling that way. If you're here, it already means you're worthy. So we're going to get into 7 things I really wish every woman understood so that you can break free from societal conditioning and truly feel and be your best, most amazing dream girl self. Because once you start to break free from it, you're going to look at things radically differently. And that's where I'm at right now, where I'm just fired up about this. I want every girl to be fired up about this too, because we live in a man's world, but it doesn't mean that we can't be smart about how we choose to show up as women. Okay, so number 1, let's get into it. I don't want to do too long of an intro this episode. Number 1, the first thing I really wish every single woman understood, and it is time to break free from this stupid matrix that we are living under, and that is the fact that you are inherently worthy. You are inherently worthy because you exist. And I know I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but society is going to try to convince you all the time to believe that you're not worthy. And I think for myself, I really started to just understand the magnitude of this once I started going on a self-love journey, a spiritual journey, a self-development journey. Once I really started to peel back the layers of what was holding me back, And I realized that everything that we're taught is meant to keep us at a vibration of low self-worth, because when we have low self-worth, we're easy to sell to. We easily buy things because we think that's going to make us feel worthy. And I wish I could scream this from the rooftops, because once I started to uncover this and realize this, I started to pour into my self-worth cup like no other before. I literally defied all the societal programming conditioning, because I was like, you know what? It's actually a rebellious act to love myself. It's a rebellious act to feel worthy. And I started to retrain my mind into believing that, listen, Rebecca, if you're here on earth, it already means you're worthy. And especially as women, the more that we can reclaim our power and believe that we're worthy already as we are, there's nothing we need to fix, change, do, be, or have in order to be worthy, then you are going to be the most powerful person in the room. I truly believe, this is my personal belief, that women are so powerful. Women who are in their power, who are in their self-love and self-worth, like in that energy, are so powerful. We're too powerful. That's why society kind of has to like bring us down, because it's too dangerous. Literally, like we are too powerful when you're in that energy. And so I know I've like probably said this a million times. I'm going to keep screaming it from the rooftop on majority of my podcast episodes, but you are already worthy because you exist here today. Truly. And if there's one thing I really wish you could leave this podcast episode with, it's just 1% more feeling like, okay, maybe I already am worthy. Maybe I don't need to focus on all these external things to feel worthy. Maybe I already am, because I exist and I'm a woman and I have my, divine feminine energy, because I can literally make and birth a child within my own body. Like, what? We have such amazing superpowers. It's time you realize that. So, number one, you already are worthy, and it's time to break out of this stupid matrix that tells you that you're not otherwise. Number two, this one's super important, you guys. If you want more success, if you want more money, if you want more abundance, if you want more love, if you want more whatever it is that you're trying to call in and attract, I want you to realize that self-love is the vehicle to attract more of that. And it's not beating yourself up. Society's programming right now is telling us that the more we're hard on ourselves, the harder we are on ourselves, the more we beat ourselves up, the more successful we'll be, right? If you didn't do a good job, be hard on yourself and you'll do better next time. Really put yourself down to get better. And I just want to say that might be how a man operates best, right? Men are very much competitive, ego-driven, hunter-gatherer vibes. So maybe for men, they actually do need to put themselves down a little bit to like rise above, rise like the phoenix to, become this better version of them. But for women, it is very different. And in my personal experience between working with clients, seeing it with myself, seeing it with other women in my life, the more you put yourself down, the actual worst results you're going to get. Because women, we actually improve and enhance and glow up and up level when we're filling up our cup, when we're giving ourselves self-love, when we're giving ourselves that positive reinforcement. That is actually what creates more success. And I've seen this with myself personally. I started making more money when I started loving myself, when I started appreciating my gifts, when I started giving myself that inherent validation that I was craving from, everyone else. When I was actually filling up my own cup, I started making more money. I started attracting more things. Because as women, the more we give it to ourselves first, the more we embody that energy and the more we radiate that energy, which means we can attract that energy back. So don't fall into the trap of you need to be hard on yourself in order to be more successful, in order to be better, because that might work for a man, but for a woman, baby, it's the exact opposite. Start filling up your cup more. Start giving yourself that self-love first, because that's going to be the energy you embody, and that's going to be what attracts more good things into you. Tip number 3, the third thing I wish more women understood. And this one, I don't want to say it's going to be controversial because it's really not. And it's something that I was actually talking about with a friend yesterday, which is the fact that as women, we are meant to be doing something that we're passionate about. We are meant to be creative. We are meant to be in flow. We are meant to, do something that we love. And I don't want you to think that, oh my gosh, if I'm not capitalizing on my passions and I have a 9 to 5, that means it's horrible. No, what you actually are meant to be doing as a woman is to create. And the way that this creation energy manifests can look different for everyone. It could look like, having a hobby, doing arts and crafts, making something creative after work. It doesn't mean you necessarily need your work to be your creative endeavor, but I truly believe, this is my personal belief, that women are meant to create. And I think that this stems from our literal biology. Our biology is creation. We can create life. We can create a human. We can birth a human. And I think that that translates into other areas of our life as well, not just the physical, making a baby. It's also in our physical and our energetic and our spiritual and our creative world. I think that as women, we can feel really good when we're in the flow of creation. And I think that's something that's really special about women, is that we are, able to create and birth things, I think, a lot easier, I want to say, than men can, because men are more logic and head driven. We're actually more heart driven. And when we are tapped into ourselves, into the universe, and we can pull the energy of creation and then execute and create something, I think that flow and that channel is actually a lot easier for us. So if you're listening right now, I would ask yourself, maybe the reason why you feel burnt out, or maybe the reason why you're not feeling, as excited about life, or you're just feeling kind of blah or blah, I would ask yourself, are you creating anything? What are you creating on a day-to-day? Do you just wake up, work out, go to work, watch TV, eat dinner, go to sleep? Maybe there's some room in your day that you can add for creation, that you can add for play. Maybe start that side hustle, maybe start that social media account, maybe start doing that arts and crafts, maybe go pick up a hobby. I don't care what you do, really, but I would ask yourself if maybe you could start to embody or do something that's within that creation energy to make yourself feel better, honestly. And I really wish more women understood that we are so good and natural at creating stuff. And I think a lot of the times we get in our own way because we say we're not good enough, or what's the point, or, what are people going to think if we do this thing? When in actuality, you should be creating for you. Even if nobody else sees it, even if nobody else hears about it, the simple fact and the simple act of you creating something, I think, will unlock something within you. And you might not even know it yet, because maybe you've shut down your creative side. But I really do believe that women have this superpower when it comes to creation, and that we are truly meant to be doing something that we're creative about. We're creative and we're passionate about. I think that women, when we act on our passions, we are so radiant. We are so magnetic. We are so powerful. And I am so passionate about this because obviously you guys know I went from working a corporate job that completely burnt me out to now working for myself for the past, 3.5 years. And I have never felt, of course it's been up and down, don't get me wrong, but I've never felt more in alignment with myself, more fulfilled, more creative, more in flow than I have when I started, working and acting on my passions. Even though there was a lot of hardship and roadblocks along the way, there's this inherent feeling of oh my gosh, I'm in my passion and my purpose. I'm doing something I'm passionate about. And that energy as a woman, I think, is so just unmatched and is so inherent within us. So long story short, Don't be afraid to create. I think we're all meant to be doing something we're passionate about, and we're all just meant to be creative. So even if you're not, living your passions right now, that's okay. Just start getting into the energy of creating. And I think that it will lead you somewhere that you may not have even expected or would have ever guessed. Tip number 4. As a woman, I wish truly that every woman understood that you are way more intuitive than you even think you are. You are intuitive. You have a strong intuition for a reason. There's the woman's intuition for a reason. And I know this to be true because just a few years ago, I would have never called myself an intuitive person. And now today, I'm like working on my intuitive abilities, like literally my energy reading abilities. I'm in calls with my clients and I'm reading their energy when we're in a meditation. And they're like, holy shit, how did you know that? How did you feel that? And I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm just like a really intuitive person now. And that all stemmed from the fact that I started working on my intuition and I started listening to my intuition and I started embodying and acting upon my intuition. And instead of always living just in my logic, I started to listen to my intuition more. And I think all of us can relate to this because even think about yourself right now. How many times did something happen and then you look back and then you're like, wait a second, my intuition was telling me or giving me this feeling, but I didn't listen. And now it makes sense, right? You can look back later on why you had that intuitive feeling, but in the moment you didn't know. And I think as a woman, one of your superpowers is your intuition. And in society, we don't praise intuition, right? We praise more the here and now, the masculine, the mental, like the logic. We can physically, tangibly see the reason. And intuition, you're not always going to see it in the moment. It's more of a feeling. So society doesn't praise that. But as a woman, you should start to praise it because guess what? It is so strong. It is so true. And we have this intuition for a reason. And you might have just spent so many years shutting it down that it's hard for you to listen to it now. And the best thing that you can start to do is start to peel back some of the layers and start to use your intuition, even for the small decisions, like what do I want to eat? What do I want to wear? Like, do I want to go to this party or not? What's my intuition telling me? Like, start using it for the small decisions, and eventually you'll start to be able to hear it for the big decisions. Number 5, the fifth thing I wish women understood was the fact that your period isn't a bad thing. Oh my gosh. I spent so many years literally dreading, hating my period because society makes it out to be this like horrible, icky, disgusting thing. When in actuality, it's like the most beautiful celebration of being a woman. And we've spent so many years in this conditioning that you might even have like a bad reaction to the fact that I just said that. Like you might just be like, ugh, like, no, I don't think so. Like we literally are programmed to believe this disgusting thing when in actuality, you can use your period to manifest more. You can use your period as a portal to unlocking more of your intuition because we're actually more intuitive during our period when we're bleeding. So in the first day or two of my period, I'm journaling, I'm resting, I'm listening to my intuition, I'm seeing what messages are coming up, I'm making myself a cacao drink, I'm getting in tune with my body, I'm going deeper within my body. And now, believe it or not, I actually kind of look forward to my period because I'm like, ooh, what's gonna come for me this month, this period? Because it's also a time of like shedding. We're not just physically shedding, but we're also like energetically shedding, emotionally shedding. Like what's coming up for you that you can start to let go of? How can you reflect on the last month and then use this shedding energy to welcome in a new energy for the new month? Like it's so exciting. How awesome as women that we get an opportunity every single month to like have a reset. Reset, recover, like shed and like bring in this new energy for the new month. So start to use your period to your advantage. And to be honest, I really do look forward to it now. And maybe that's just partly because I can't wait for my luteal phase to end. So I'm just like, when am I going to bleed? Like, let's get this started. But really in general, I start to look at my period as a celebration and how I can use it to benefit myself. And it really helps me. So I think it'll help you as well. Tip number 6, I really wish more women knew that living in their masculine energy could cause physical symptoms. And I went over this in the previous podcast episode, so go listen to that if you haven't yet. But I will say that for me personally, I didn't realize it, but living so much in my masculine, the like productivity, the success, the go, 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 the overworking, the burnout, like it just led me to have a lot of physical issues. And I remember talking about this with a doctor a while ago, and a functional medicine doctor, and he was saying that the onset of autoimmune disease, I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me, but he said this, the onset of some autoimmune disease in women can actually be caused from the overly living in our masculine, when we're like so stressed out, we're so burnt out, we're so overworked, we're not listening to our bodies, we're not taking care of ourselves. Like that can cause some physical like ailments, the bloating, even breaking out, low energy levels, fatigue, like that all can come as a result from overly pushing ourselves and overly being in our masculine energy. And so I'm not going to get too deep into this in this episode because I did just post one about feminine energy. But I just want you to know that if you've tried everything and you still have no reasons or understanding for why you're having all these physical symptoms, I would start to look at how you're living your life and what energy you're coming from. Because if you're overly in your masculine, that can definitely be leading to some physical symptoms. And lastly, number 7, I wish that every woman knew that she was not going to be super productive every single day out of, every hour of every day of every single month. We are not designed to be some machines, some robot machines. While men can maybe feel the same every single day, us women, we do not. And I feel like a broken record when I talk about this, but stop being so hard on yourself if you're not always productive all the time. And society is not going to say that because we live in the 9 to 5, that grind. We are not taught to really break free from this and understand our cycles and understand the fact that we're not going to be productive every day. And this is why I'm so passionate about helping other women become full-time content creators and entrepreneurs doing something for themselves, because then they can start to dictate when they want to be more productive and when they don't want to be as productive. For me right now, I'm in my ovulation phase. I have more energy. I'm flowing with it. I'm batch recording episodes. I'm doing a lot of the work because I know in a few weeks from now when I get my period, I'm going to need to rest more. And this is why I'm so passionate about giving women this freedom, because it's not just financial freedom, time freedom. It's also freedom over your freaking bodies, to work with your bodies and to work with your cycle. And so I'm launching a program later next month called Corporate to Creator. If you're interested in it, go add your email to the waitlist. I'm going to put the link in the show notes because I am so freaking excited about this program, because I can't even tell you how passionate I am about helping other women achieve this level of freedom, because it's the best level of freedom, knowing that you don't have to, answer a boss every single day, 9 to 5, when you're dying in your luteal phase or your period, and you just need a minute to like breathe and rest and recover, because that autonomy is the best feeling ever as a woman. And if you are unable to, get that right now, that's okay. But I want you to start to understand more of the fact that you're not always going to be productive 24/7. So don't beat yourself up against it. Even if society and other people are, don't do that to yourself, and you will start to love yourself 100 times more. So that's going to conclude today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to take a screenshot, share it on your story, share it with another woman, share it with your best friend, with your mom, your aunt, your sister, your cousin. More women need to hear this information. These are my hot takes. These are my things of the day that I wish every woman understood, because they will change your life once you start implementing them. So I'm sending all my love, and I'll catch you in the next Pod Wednesday. Mwah.